The F1 Sim Racing World Championship 2026 is back for event 4. We had quali around the track of Mexico. It was all fist bumps ready for this one as Ulas Uzildrum took his third pole position. Shock of all shocks, Otis Lawrence out in Q1. And that has really shaken things up in our championship battle. You join us today back here in the studio now, where we've all seen the email about wearing the same coloured tops.
Yes.
I do apologise about that straight away. However, maybe there isn't anything to apologise for. Nicola Hume, Brendan Lee, two-time world champion in F1 Sim Racing. First of all, Nicola, how did you find quali earlier on?
It was an interesting one. I don't think any of us expected me to be interviewing Otis Lawrence after Q2. I don't think Otis was expecting it himself. And we have got to know Otis pretty well over these last few events. And it was such a shame to see him with such a down face, especially right at the start of the final event when he's fighting for his championship. I didn't want him to be at that negative level, but I did see him at lunch. And he was smiling.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
There was a pep in his step, definitely.
Yeah.
And a person who absolutely, I don't think he knew how to respond to putting it on pole was Ulas Uzildrum. There was burgers on offer in the canteen. And we know, because we heard from you in Event 3, Brendan, he can put those away. Brendan, you were down there, Ferrari ambassador. You had your jacket on. You've gone very smart now. What did you make of quali?
I just want to say I haven't been fired. I've just changed my outfit. But it's interesting.
What a scoop that would have been straight away.
That would have been a good scoop. But it's interesting because it's season finale, right? And everyone's high tensions. They know what's on the line. And ultimately, tomorrow will be the realization of some people's dreams. And for 19 others, knowing that they didn't make their dream into a reality.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that.
No, I know. It does become quite daunting. That's the stakes right now. We're about just under 15 minutes before we go racing around in Mexico. Well, then, as a former driver, put us in that position. What's going to go through the drivers' minds right now? Someone like Jake Benham missed out getting into Q2 by 1,000th of a second. What can he do? How would his mind and preparation be?
I think for him, he just wants to lay it on the line because by his standards, he's a phenomenally fast driver, but he just hasn't lived up to what I believe he can do in qualifying. So he's got to really make up for this in final event, end strong, and then you go into your off-season preparation for next season as well in a better way. But you don't want to end in a bad note.
Would drivers now be thinking, right, it's all or nothing now? Or will they start thinking there's 2 more races after this when we come back tomorrow?
I would be thinking it's all or nothing, to be honest. If I was in the situation of Jake, I would just be sending it because you need to take home a big result to show to the team, okay, this is going to go well and to build confidence for next year, or break your front wing in the process.
Yeah, I bet it was tense in the F1, the sim stage down there, Nicola. And when you look at the drivers' standings, there's good reason for why it's so tense down there. Otis Lawrence, 128 points there at the top of the pack with Freddie Rasmussen chasing him. And we will get to it, the quali. But Freddie Rasmussen really did have an opportunity to pick away at that 25-point lead. Any shocks, any surprises for you? I mean, maybe even Ulas if he'd have raced a few more times. He's currently in P6. Who stands out for you?
I mean, the fact that he is in P6 when he hasn't done every race, I think is so impressive from Ulas. But I think, I mean, looking at that top of the table, the 25 points between those two, it is literally all or nothing now for both of them. And when you look back at quali, we were expecting top whack from both of those drivers, from Otis and from Freddie Rasmussen. So who knows what the race is going to bring? I mean, you look at the constructors standings
15
there.
points.
Look at that. It's so close.
And also, it's $750,000 prize pool. So there's so much to fight for way back down there. When you were racing, Brendan, was that a thought that was going through, or you mainly did you leave that for the engineers, the team manager, the team principal to think and worry about, and you just focused on going as fast as you could?
No, you took some money if you could, to be honest. I remember in 2019, I think it was, or 2020 it was. I knew if I overtook David Tanitsa, I got some extra money, so I sent it.
What a blast from the past.
I respect it.
David Tanitsa, world champion for Ferrari. Great to hear his name, and well done on getting that money. Absolutely sending it. Here we go then. Schedule. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We've had quali. We're about to go racing probably about 11 minutes now. Time, and then we will come back tomorrow for Interlagos and Yas Marina. But what happened during quali? Well, it was exciting, it was frenetic. There was a little bit of a wait to get racing as we had some technical issues for one of the drivers, but we waited. We discussed the whole championship and what would happen, and then we got down to it, and great to see all the drivers, handshakes, fist bumps. That guy, it's his birthday, not Danny Bresnik. His birthday's tomorrow. He's just resting, thinking about, he's visualising the cake. A lot was set. When we went racing in Q1, what did you notice, Brendan?
To be honest, Mexico's always a tricky track because it overheats the tyres towards the final sector especially. So the drivers who got their setup absolutely dialed were really phenomenally and pulling away. But as you saw, actually later, I'm going to skip on to Q2 a little bit, but that's also what caught out Otis, is the rear sliding out due to the rears overheating. In summary, overheating tyres and boiling pressure.
But he didn't set a foundation lap, which I found, it's putting extra pressure. Drivers leaving it, like you say, to the last opportunity. In a championship battle, why not set the banker? It just seems like you're putting extra pressure on yourself.
Well, you are, and the sensible thing to do is put the banker, but when you're underneath so much pressure, it can be easy to not do the simple things.
Okay, we moved into Q2 then, after saying goodbye to Otis, and interesting enough for the guys here then and what they could possibly do, knowing they have to pick up points. Any standouts for you in Q2?
Well, I think, of course, I have to say Otis is a standout. I'd also say just the overall invalidations, to be honest. We've seen a very clean season so far and really see people pushing to the limits, trying to make or break for this final event of the season, as we can see there with Tom Manley as well. And yeah, invalidations.
Yeah, just shocking. First time this year, a massive shock. Worst qualifying event for Otis Lawrence. Don't worry though, Nicola, you tried to lift his spirits. I think you did a good job because he seemed much better at lunch. But then when you got down to it, Tom Manley top, Ulaz Özildirim, and obviously knowing he sort of tipped Barry to do the business and get it on pole.
It was really nice, actually, before I spoke to Ulash on camera. It was nice to see Ulash and Barry Burman going up to each other, congratulating each other on what was 2 great laps. And I did have a mini chat with Barry as well, and he seemed pretty proud of what he had done, although he was, you know, fighting for pole. He would rather have had that. But he's still pretty happy to be up there and to be on the front row.
We mentioned it on the quali show. Freddie Rasmussen's lap time in Q3 was under investigation. And he's actually, we've got a brilliant team here at the Formula One's Media and Technology Centre. That graphic's wrong. I'm gonna be that person.
Say it.
Okay,
Do
I
it.
will say it. He's actually gonna be starting in P10, but you'll find that out a little bit later on with Alex Jakes and Kai Bicini as they run you through the grid. But because it was under investigation, it has now been updated. Brilliant team. So I feel like I've dug myself out of that hole with the
No, you
graphics
did
team.
well. Yeah, well
okay,
done.
Thanks, Nicola. So there you go. But someone in the pressure, and Thomas Ronha, a former teammate for you, just wasn't getting it together. Wasn't when it mattered.
Yeah, he's also been generally in the season for this theme and just not getting it together. Mexico's always been a strong track for him and shows how much the season is struggling. That a strong track for him, he used to always destroy me in practice. It was so annoying. But to see him struggling is not a nice sight anyway.
Yeah, and you said in the quality show, Nicola, that 3 poles in the last event for last season. Mind-blowing. Let's talk about that lap that put him on pole, Ulash Özildirim. The Racing Bulls driver, a great race from Tom Manny as well in the quali to get up into P6. But what did you notice about his lap? He almost went out in Q1, which was baffling.
But that's a theme of Mexico, right? Because it's so difficult. As we're going to see during the lap, easy to invalidate, and you have to be right on the limit. So going into turn 1, look to the left-hand side for your brake marker board. Spot that perfectly, using the shadows as well. Kiss the curbing on the inside. Now smack the curbing on the inside here and smack it again. Full commitment and a good suspension setup on his car to utilize that ability. Ending the first sector, starting the second. This is really where you're going to see the driver's wheel flip. This saturates the front axle of the car to protect the rear axle as well. Again, stopping the car from overheating its rear tyres as the lap unfolds. This is really the high pressure moment of the lap. Into the middle sector, commit over the grass on the inside here as you can get away with it in this year's iteration of the Formula One game. Now through the left, through the right, easily flat out. You're going to see your delta. It's all the way green and he's on a phenomenal lap at this point. Final sector of the lap, open up right against the white line, commit to the curbing, pull right, straight line the braking as much as possible. Again, big wheel flick, jump over the inside curbing. Final apex of the lap, easy to make a mistake here. Smooth on the throttle, hold your nerves together, and that is Ulas on his way to pole position.
Top stuff, Ulas. The way he just smacks those curbs.
Well, it was kissing and then smacking.
It was everything.
That's the way to do it, yeah.
Thank you for talking us through that, Brendan. Top stuff. Hey, and I even made a note. I made lots of notes on my card. You couldn't see that on the screen, but it doesn't matter. Because back in 2020, you had your 2nd place finish in. So if anyone knows about Mexico, it's Brendan Lee. Let's look at the data, the stats here, head-to-head with Otis Lawrence this season against Freddie Rasmussen. This is what it's coming. This is what it's boiling down to a championship. Will Freddie win his 2nd title? Will Otis win his maiden? And look at those stats. What stands out for you, Brendan, if you're a former driver, you're looking at it now?
Average race finish. To be honest, it sounds obvious because that's how you get your points in this series. But to be average P5 and average P6.2 is just outstanding, isn't it? When you see the qualifying separated by 2 tenths from like P1 to P15, and you think how close that is, that's probably 5 meters of braking in your qualifying lap. To be in the top 5 and top 6 so consistently, it's outstanding, to be honest.
It was a rare off day for Alpine when you consider it, both out of Q2. At which point, it's up to Freddie then to capitalise on it. And we know in F1 sim racing about capitalising on those opportunities. It didn't happen. Let's dwell on that, if we may, for a moment or two. And when you look at what happened for Freddie, what stood out for you, Brendan?
I think it's actually quite hard to perform in that circumstance when you know you're starting ahead of your championship rival, because you can almost become complacent in that situation. It's better to know that you have to go for pole position, whereas Freddie probably knew that he didn't have to go for pole, and I think that creeped into the mind. He might say different, he knows better than I do, but that's what I see from the situation.
Yeah, we watched Otis Lawrence invalidating his time, not getting it done when it mattered, and then Freddie Rasmussen followed suit. And would you say that's the pressure, dare I say it, Nicola? I mean, you're seeing drivers... Yes, OK, good.
100% is the pressure. It's got to be the pressure. I mean, we're here for the final event. There are three races left. It is so close between the two of them. And I mean, you have to be on pole. You have to win. If Otis manages to get P2 in every race, then Freddie has to have the perfect 3 races to be able to win the championship. So this is Otis's to lose. But seeing Otis mess up and then knowing that Freddie could have taken that advantage and then he didn't manage to do it has now put everything back on level pegging. And now who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the way maybe Otis celebrated just under his breath, or just a little, like...
I reckon
back
so.
in his, a little bit.
Definitely, yeah.
Racing Bulls, fantastic in Spa. They've been brilliant all year. One of those drivers that's definitely made the difference is Ulas Yildirim. Is he maybe your standout driver to look out for in this race? I know he's starting on pole. And if so, what is it that you like about Ulas this year?
To be honest, I've had the fortune of working with him before, and he's always had the speed, but he's never really put it together in previous seasons. The fact he's putting it together and utilising the capability of his team behind the scenes as well is what I'm loving to see. Putting it on pole position, going for race-winning results, taking podiums as well, and he's really looking like the full package. Hopefully, he can do all races next season and put together a championship charge.
I think it was Kai Pacini who'll be hearing his dulcet tones later on as we go racing. But, I mean, Ulas had 6 points for licence points at the start of the year, and people were like, well, he's got to be careful. And even last year, so he's cleaned up some of his driving, come back, and is absolutely rapid as we see him celebrating earlier on, if you can see that. This is from Spa. It was a brilliant moment, him and Tom Manley battling it out, which I love to see when you say, hey, drivers, just go for it, absolutely race each other to get that win. Brilliant to see, wasn't it, Nicola?
It was, and it's so nice to see a team come together like that. But I think, especially knowing that Ulas hadn't been doing all the races, I don't know what we were expecting him to do this season. When you know that a driver is sharing his seat with someone else, you don't expect him to be getting wins as often or getting poles as often, because you kind of go, oh, it's fine because he's sharing his seat, so they're aiming for constructors. And then he just keeps knocking out pole positions. And I mean, last time we were here, he was sat on this sofa.
Yeah. I'm curious, you've chatted to Ulas, you've chatted to Tom Manley.
Yeah.
He's had a podium earlier on in Spa. Freddie Rasmussen just behind him. Any drivers for you stand out to watch coming up?
Ruben.
Okay.
Ruben Pedreño. Now, I think we should just keep an eye on Ruben. He seems to be so happy and settled within his new team at Aston Martin. And, I mean, he's got 2 podiums already. He got himself a podium in Bahrain, where he came P3, and similar when we were here for Event 3 in Zandvoort. And every time I've spoken to him, he is nothing but a pleasure and a joy. And he's loving every second of being here. So even in quali, I mean, he's starting P8, I believe, in quali. So for the race, he's starting P8. And I think he's just one to watch, because he could be a little sneaky one. If something kind of goes wrong up front, Ruben could just kind of sneak in, and then you can sing your song to him again.
Okay, I'm definitely not singing any more songs to Ruben Pedreño. However, when you feel, like as Nicola says, Brendan, if you feel confident, you've got a smile on your face, you don't look like you're carrying the weight of the team or your own expectations, you drive better, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a simple fact of life. If you're happy, you feel more free. You know, on those days where you feel a bit frustrated and you stub your toe and you put your elbow in the wall and it's just not working, you know, then you spill your cup of tea down yourself or something like that. That's what it's a bit like being in the seat. When you're happy, when you're fulfilled, when you're confident, you're able to be flowing, delicate and precise with your inputs. But when it's not quite working, it's not quite ticking, then you start making those silly errors that snowball to much worse results.
Well, hopefully he stays on top of that one. And you were describing my normal Thursday, to be honest with you. High deg, that's what we discussed in the green room, didn't we, Nicola, with Brendan? It was all about high deg. Is that the word, is that the phrase to use for Mexico City?
High deg, high temperature, really because the air is thinner, the tyres have less air to basically cool off, so they overheat quicker. The overheating tyres, they degrade faster, and then becomes a snowball effect from that point onwards.
So how do you manage it? And I believe this is your predicted pit stop strategy. Yeah. Brendan, talk us through it.
Well, it is my strategy, and I got told 2-stop isn't happening, so I look a bit silly. But
there's a possibility still, though.
It can, but probably won't win. But I think, yeah, with managing the tyre. It's all about playing it smart. You won't see them pushing flat out at the start of the race, and ultimately they'll go for it towards the end of the stints.
So what was your thinking behind the two-stopper? It's made it fascinating, though, and we'll be watching, because you have to react to what's happening around you. But why were you thinking the two-stopper?
More showtime on the airtime. But honestly, because a lot of people are backing up here, you have the opportunity to undercut, and while people are not watching your race, gain that time and have better tyres at the end to make a result.
What position then, on which driver would you look to maybe do that then? If you would, you sort of down at sort of 9, 10, what would be the strategy maybe for Freddie to keep himself in this championship hunt and know that you've got Otis Lawrence just behind you?
I think for Freddie, go normal strategy with the one stop. If I was like at the back, like Julian, for example, I would go two stop, to be honest. Go on the alternative tyre to start with, then try and undercut again, and just see if you can spice something up a little bit, you know? Why not?
Yeah, we go. Two-stop may or may not happen. Nicola, Brendan, thank you so much. Kai Bicini and Alex Jakes are in the commentary box right now. Apparently, Brendan has said, not going to be a two-stopper, but hey, it'd be very exciting to watch, would it not?
I believe in Brendan Lee. So if we're going to a one-stop, it's one-stop town then. Really looking forward to it all the same, because epic first laps here. Due to turn one, Kai.
Yeah, unbelievable. 1.2 kilometre run down to turn one, and an outstanding opportunity for drivers to pick up a few positions down into the first heavy braking zone we have over this Mexico circuit. So many overtaking opportunities, so many good chances, and so many places for this man to make up. Otis Lawrence will be on a charge through the grid. For Freddie Rasmussen, it will be damage limitation. He'll be wanting to keep the Alpine behind him, but there's a long run for him to manage to do so.
Yeah, it was a real risk in Q3 when we had a Q2 exit for our championship leader. But this is how they line up then. 3 races to go in the Sim Racing World Championship. Klaffenbach is in 18th. Joris Krozen went out in Q1. He's P17 for Haas. Jake Benham missed out by 1,000th of a second. He's P16. Otis Lawrence, yes, that's Otis Lawrence, missing out on Q3 for the first time all season. He's P15. Duncan Hovland is in 14th, and it is Thomas Gall 13th for Haas. They'll be looking for full progress to the points. The same applies to Danny Beresne. In 12th, he's next to Jarno Opmeer, who goes from 11th position on a track that he's won at 4 times. Freddie Rasmussen had his lap invalidated, and he is in 10th position. Thomas Ronhaar, another former winner around this configuration. Ruben Pedreno is going very, very nicely so far in this round. He's 8th. Nicholas Longue in 7th. He is still in mathematical contention for the title, by the way. And then it's Tom Manley in 6th. He's next to Alfie Butcher, who improved to 5th with the last gasp lap, the first 2 rows. Feature. Istvan Pukki, he's next to Ismail Fassi, who will be a factor for the win. The front row, it's going to be a titanic tussle between Barry Burrament, and taking his first pole in a fully dry session, Ulas Elzelderem goes for his second win of the season in the Racing Bulls. This is going to be an epic run, a long run down to turn number 1. Where you place the car, absolutely crucial. Do you get it right? Do you get it wrong? Championship on the line, 3 races to go, 5 lights on, 5 lights off. Let's go racing in Mexico City. Elzelderem and Boromond is our battle. Pukki's gone well off the line, and it's a slipstream battle between the Ferrari and the Racing Bulls on lap 1 of 36. And it looks like it's going to be a wide line for Barry Burrament. Elzelderem gets the start he needs. That's brave for Alfie Butcher, who's rising the positions all the time, looking to try and contend for second place. What a getaway this has been for Butcher. He's in P3 for the moment, but he's causing side-by-side with Barry Burrament, Elzelderem, Burrament, and Butcher, the big winner, off the line.
Great start there, exactly what the Racing Bulls would have been hoping for around the outside. That was going to be the Williams looking for a move of Istvan Pukki as he's trying to force his way past Alfie Butcher. Butcher's going to fight it on the outside, but he's going to have to give up eventually, down into 7. Will he sneak on the inside? No, he won't. Great move there from Pukki as he'll get himself up into a podium position right now, but Ulas Elzelderem just taking the opportunity to break away from the rest of the field as they battle on.
Freddie Rasmussen finds himself behind Otis Lawrence. Otis Lawrence with a difficult qualifying session, improving a couple of positions, Rasmussen losing a couple of places, and as a result we have a reversed order from what we saw in qualifying, and we have our championship leader ahead of his nearest rival for the title. Exactly what he needed to do, as in the background it's getting very, very tight between the Haas and the McLaren.
Thomas Gall making his way past Jake Benham there through the stadium section, but for Otis Lawrence. You can't be disappointed if the Red Bull driver of Freddie Rasmussen is behind you. No matter where these drivers finish in the order, as long as Otis Lawrence is in front of Freddie Rasmussen, then it's damage limitation. It's a good race and it's a good weekend for Otis Lawrence if he's able to do so. Still in the background, Jake Benham's trying to recover that time lost, but the other Haas of Joris Krozen is able to sneak through down into turn 1. First heavy braking zone, first big overtaking opportunity, and the Haas driver of Joris Krozen is taking advantage of that.
Okay, Ismail Fassi put the hard tyres on. He dropped a couple of places, dropped 3 places in the end, but he's got the more durable tyre on the car. So that's really cost him a launch off the line, and he's been made to pay for that in the opening turns of the racetrack. Otis Lawrence on the hard tyre, ahead of Freddie Rasmussen, who's on the hard tyre. Also, Thomas Ronhaar losing places as well. Disappointment for him, dropping down the order at a track where he's had success in the past. Ozelderim finds himself 0.7 of a second ahead of Barry Burrman, who has been second year after year around here and is desperate to change that sentence.
It'll be interesting to see how these drivers deal with the strategy across the board. We have a couple of hard runners and medium runners scattered throughout the field right now. Julash Ozelderim being the leading driver on the mediums right now, taking away from pole position. Your leading drivers on the hard compounded tyres is going to be Ismail Fassi and Ruben Pedreño. They'll try and go for the long stint early on. I think most of the drivers are going to be looking for that one-stop strategy if possible. Just minimize the time lost in the pit stop and manage those tyres out there on the circuit. All of these drivers are professionals. I'm seeing to manage to do so right now. Autodromo of Ramos Rodriguez here around Mexico, a circuit that is very low on downforce due to the high altitude of the circuit. Teams often have to go for a very high downforce setup on the cars, which allows them to keep that car planted through the SS section, but also is going to hinder them in terms of tyre wear.
Ozelderim leads by 0.6 of a second. Pookie in third. Let's go on board with Tom Manley. So interesting contrast between Racing Bulls and Ferrari. Ferrari splitting the strategy. Barry Burman's on the starting tyre of a medium. Fassi's on the hard. Both of the Racing Bulls on the medium tyres. Let's go back to the start of the race. On board with Alfie Butcher getting a good launch off the line. And then some driver who's currently running in fourth.
Let's get a replay here. On board with Alfie Butcher, who was peering down the rear end of the Williams driver. Managed to get himself alongside Fassi due to the slipstream down into turn 1. Then it was to the inside. 3 wide. It is possible with the wide circuit available here in Mexico. It was the outside line that very quickly turns to the inside as he tried to fight the inside line of Borman. Now we need to hold off there from Pookie. Wasn't able to do so. Let's go on board with Ronhaar. He didn't have the best start he would have been hoping for. Longaze just tapped astray in front of him. Opmia gets through, and Ronhaar just hung out to dry here on the exit of 3 as all the cars will now just passenger ride past with all the slipstream. Illegal overtake shows up on his screen. You'll have to slow down to give that one back, and all the cars just going by on his right-hand side. Not the start that Ronhaar would have been hoping for.
What a disappointment. And there you get the fact that you see so many times on the opening lap here where you're just forced wide. And on board with Otis Lawrence, who finds himself ahead of his nearest contender for the title. Lawrence, after the disappointment of his worst qualifying session of the year, waiting still. Rasmussen was tight over the grass as well through that corner. Ronhaar got by and got the message to let Rasmussen back through. And Otis Lawrence is thinking, if I can just place the car correctly, huge moment. Bit of wheel banging with his rival. And eventually through, track position secured within 6 corners of the racetrack.
I'll tell you what, Otis Lawrence was not giving him an inch there on the exit of 3, was Otis Lawrence, as Freddie Rasmussen was very much pushed to the limits of the white lines. Scary moments there, just jumping over the apex of turn 3 as Freddie Rasmussen was trying to avoid any contact with the other cars around him. This would have been a scary sight. The last thing you want to see is Otis Lawrence on your outside as he's now just pinched in between the 3 cars, sees a little bit of a gap, tries to dive down it, and is now hung out on the outside of the double right-hander. Lawrence, that position was always his.
All right, 0.4 of a second. When we went to the replays, it was 6. And Barry Burman getting the hammer down, trying to close the gap to the Racing Bulls driver out front. Jonas Ozelderim, winner in Spa a couple of races ago. Then Burman, then Pookie, then Butcher, then Manley. And can the Racing Bulls do anything with the position of Tom Manley there to maybe go a little bit earlier, maybe force the hand of others around in protection for their race leader. Their teamwork was absolutely exemplary in our Belgian round, and it allowed them to build the foundations for a 1-2.
Well, if they want to get those team orders and that teamwork underway, Manley's going to have to do a hell of a job to get himself through the order. He'll have to gain up quite a few positions, would Tom Manley. Alfie Butcher in front, a fierce competitor. It's not going to be easy to make his way past the Brit in front, as Alfie Butcher, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast for qualifying, McLaren, a team with a lot to prove. They had 3 podiums over the course of the first event, and from there it just seems to have been downhill for both drivers. Misfortune going the way of them. McLaren currently finding themselves 6th in the constructor standings with a grand total of 81 points between them. Alfie Butcher, though, he's a little bit further down in the driver's standings than 6th. Will be trying to improve that position if possible, but this might not be the race to do so. 7th right now for Alfie Butcher in the standings, 53 points to his name. Not far off the back of his competitor of Julash Yildirim, 20 points between them, but with your closest competitor leading the race, you don't want to see that.
It's a wide open fight for victory here in Mexico City as we make our way through the Foro Sol and go through the corner named for Nigel Mansell, who put an epic move there back in the early 90s. In 2026, we could be looking at a new champion in the drivers' standings, a new champion in the team standings. But Jarno Opmeer has started the cycle of pit stops. Our reigning champion trying something different, no choice but to go for an early tyre change to try and force the issue, and he will rejoin on the hard tyre. He is exiting the pit lane now, and he finds himself back into the contest.
Rejoining the circuit now. Lap 7, very early in the pit window if you're looking for a 1-stop. I would suspect we're going to see a 2-stop from the Red Bull of Jarno Opmeer. Try something a little bit different. I don't blame him. He was out of contention for any sort of good results just based off the position that he was in off qualifying. Being out in Q2, you don't want to find yourself in that position at all, especially as a 3-time champion. But as Yildirim clearly proving that he has the elite pace to be out in front. Istvan Pukki currently in 3rd, just trying to size up Barry Borman. Stadium section could be a good opportunity into the hairpin. Thinks better of it. Maybe down into turn 1 with the slipstream, with the battery on 99%. He's got that at his usage to attack if he needs it. There's the DRS activation zone that you'll now go through, and down the home straight, that rear flap will now flip open. Barry Borman also has the slipstream and DRS of Julash Yildirim in front, so it's not going to be easy for Pukki to get this move done. Pukki kind of in a position where he has to wait for Borman to make the lunge.
Yeah, he'll try and react. You could see he was deploying the battery down to turn 1, not able to get close though. We're in a bit of a DRS train at the moment. Yildirim, Borman, Pukki, Butcher, Fassi on the alternative strategy ahead of Tom Manley. So we go on board with him now. Now, is the pendulum beginning to swing? Is the medium tyre no longer the one to be on? Ferrari now in a great position with split strategies and 2 cars in the top 5. They've got a great chance to win this race.
Yeah, this is a very smart move here from Ferrari, putting your drivers on the split strategy and trying something different from the car behind just so you have both bases covered. It's a very smart move as a team, especially when you're still fighting for that constructor's position. Ferrari currently sitting 3rd in the constructors, in behind Red Bull and Alpine. We spoke to Barry Borman earlier on today, and he said, well, you know what, a couple of seasons ago we had a few 1-2s back-to-back, and that's all it takes to bring a team back into contention for that $750,000 prize pool that's handed out to your leading team in the Constructors' Championship. Rune Pedreño, already 2 podiums to his name in the Sim Racing Championship, and looking to make up a move to push himself even further forwards.
Another driver on the hard tyre. Hard tyre coming into its own at the moment. Driver who's really found form with Aston Martin so far this year. Understandably, first driver to go onto new rubber has the fastest lap of the race. That's Jarno Opmeer, who's got 13 seconds of clear air in front of him as he tries to hammer into that gap, having gone for the likely 2-stop strategy. Fassi looking very strong at the moment, and he is a driver who was able to make the pass, and that was on Alfie Butcher a few moments ago. He is definitely a factor for the win here. Ismail Fassi Long way to go in this one, 36 laps. It's a short circuit. It's a real contrast in styles as well. High-speed stuff down to turn number 1 and turn number 4, and then it's technical all the way back to the start of the lap. It is a race where you're going to play the waiting game for as long as possible. Ozodrim trying to extend his stint on the medium tyre as long as possible. This is a high degradation racetrack as well. Is anyone feeling the need to come in and get the new rubber? There's the answer. So, big moment for Pookie, big moment for Butcher. They have gone for a lap 10 pit stop. They have gone for the new Pirelli rubber.
Into the pits, 3 of our competitors go. 20 seconds is the estimated lost time for a pit stop. It'll be a fresh set of the white wall hard tyres there onto the Racing Bulls car. Ulash Zildjian will still kick it out in front, but they're fighting side by side as Barry Borman is now going to finally make the attack. He found his opportunity, following through as well. It's a double Ferrari force as the horses will power through. A great job there from Fassi to tuck him behind his teammate. Outside line now, the job is not done, but prancing through goes both of the Scuderia Ferrari cars, and it's now a 1-2 for Borman and Fassi.
Huge moment in the race. They've got both cars out front. They've got the white wall tyre and they've got the yellow wall tyre. They've got the strategic stronghold on this race. Now, big move coming the way of Ruben Pedreno. Can he get by? Can he make it a really tough lap for our race leader? No. Where he caught him, he had the speed, he didn't have the way through. This time he does, not waiting around at all. That medium tyre is done. Remember the undercut that the Williams driver had, that the McLaren driver had, and was it one lap too far? The race leader comes in, Barry Borman comes in, Elzilderim will come in as well, and we will wait to see whether the undercut works. Well, was it called correctly on lap 10, or was it better to wait until lap 11? Great opening stint of the race for Ismail Fassi, who has the advantage of 0.8 of a second over the Aston Martin driver. Championship leader Otis Lawrence is in 4th. He also went for the hard tyre off the line. Now, where does Barry Borman's... Pookie's got past. Pookie gets by. He went from a position of going a lap earlier. So does Butcher as well, and this race has turned on its head.
Big undercut there from his fan Pookie, but do remember that he now has to carry these tyres very far into the race if it's the 1 stop that he's looking for. 2 stop is still on the table for all of the drivers. We'll just have to wait and see later on in the race, once we get to that 2/3 distance, if that is going to be decided and chosen by the teams. But as the mediums continue to fall off, Longuet loses that position to Otis Lawrence. Lawrence will now charge on forwards, chasing down a podium position, but Ismail Fassi virtually pushing Barry Borman through into the lead there, which really helps with his track position going into that pit stop window.
Okay, nicely poised for us at the moment. Split strategies, multiple strategies. How many stops are you going to make? And how long are you going to extend the stint? If we stick to a 1 stop, Jarno Opmeer came in a long time ago and started this train of cars, but there's a 1 lap offset between Pookie and Butcher. Barry Borman so settled throughout qualifying, others chasing it and looking on the brink of having lap times invalidated all the way through. But Elzilderim finding himself tumbling down as well, and our race leader has gone from front to back. Let's go back to what turned into a double Ferrari overtake. That was side-by-side battling, fair stuff between the two of them through 1, through 2, through 3, and then perfectly timed. Synchronization for the Ferraris. Give your slipstream to the teammate, and that is the box seat for the win. At this stage, we think, okay, but they've gone on a lap longer to do that, and that gave track position to the Williams and the McLaren.
Yeah, really smart move there, virtually boxing in Ulash Zildjian. He had no opportunity to get himself out of that position. We're on board here with Rasmussen as he's chasing down the rear end of Danny Beresnay. This was just earlier on in this lap. A textbook move, no problems there, with a 1.2 kilometer run down the straight. DRS, battery, all in your favor. It's a pretty slam dunk move there down into turn 1. So Rasmussen now finds himself climbing up into P6 and onto the back of the dying mediums of Nicolas Longuet. Longuet taking these mediums long, isn't he?
Certainly is. I'm not sure too much longer, because maybe he's going for the 1 stop, maybe he's stretching out, taking the pain. It's not obvious which way to go at this stage. It is obvious that we've got one of the more open strategies that we've seen for a long time. Heavy deg, the trade-off between looking after the tyres or going for a couple of sets of the fresh stuff out there to try and build a gap. Talking of building a gap, let's go further back in the pack now, where we've got Barry Burman chasing down Alfie Butcher. It's only for 15th at the moment. Could have massive consequences later in the race. Those at the back, very, very well placed before the stops. We're going to have others try and go for a one stop, having started on the hard. And how far is Jarno Opmeer going to be able to carry those tyres? Remember, he's got unbelievable form in race pace around here. Multiple victories. Very, very impressive performer. And remember, he took what was a 13-second gap, and he has taken that way down now. It's 8 seconds between him and the nearest car. Looks like it's time for another overtake. Those medium tyres expiring on the Williams, and it'll be slam dunk stuff for a former winner around here, Thomas Ronhaar, up to P6.
Yeah, the expiry date and use-by date on those mediums is really running a little bit short now, and the hards are coming out in fruition here as Thomas Ronhaar is going to take advantage of that and get himself up into P6. Running a little bit wide there out of 3, but he'll still keep the car in a straight line, which is the main thing. Now picking his braking zone down into P4. In the lead right now, Ismail Fassi. It was a crucial qualifying result to get himself P3. Currently P4 in the standings in the Drivers' Championship is Ismail Fassi. So if he's able to take advantage of this opportunity to cut down the gap to the championship leaders in front of him, then he could be looking very confident going into the final day of F1 sim racing. Otis Lawrence, is the championship pressure finally getting to the 18-year-old? He's always been so calm and collected throughout his racing. The celebrations off track, yes, extravagant, but on the circuit, he's laser focused on every apex. Otis Lawrence, is the pressure finally reaching him? Does he not have the experience and the laps to be able to deal with that pressure? Well, only time will tell over these last 3 races, but definitely a big error in qualifying, which saw him out in 15th position. No higher for Otis Lawrence. Into the pits goes Longue.
Ruben Pedreno is the new race leader. He chased down the 0.8 of a second gap, and he's passed Ismail Fassi. The hard tyres working for the Aston Martin, working for the Ferrari, and maybe it's his turn to punch a hole in the air for a bit. The medium stint that was longest of anyone so far was the one of Longue, and he finally gets rid of those tyres and goes to the back of the pack. This is the concentrated face of Barry Burman. He's trying to make progress. Kind of got to make progress now. I'd be worried about the gap if I was those who started at the front of the race. All responded to each other, didn't they? And by getting jumped by the McLaren and the Williams, your pit loss time is around 20 seconds. The gap between the hard runner, still not to stop, Ruben Pedreno, leader of the race, and Pookie is 20 seconds. And remember the benefit that you would get on that medium tyre. At the moment, starting on the hards, looking very, very good on that 15 of 36.
Well, the pace offset initially of the mediums to the hards was just outstanding. None of the hard competitors were able to compete with the medium runners, but after about 7 or 8 laps, that's when the hards came into their element, and that's where the hards became the faster tyre over the medium. So for Longue, it very much is a painful trade-off. He's had to deal with multiple laps of not having the pace, not being able to compete, and almost just seeing drivers sail past you must be so demoralizing as a driver. But the question is it going to be that beneficial? How much quicker towards the end of this race will he be on those hard compound tyres? He's already made his way past the Alpine of Danny Beresnay down into turn 1. He just has 16 more places to go.
Just the 16.
Only a few.
Just the 16 to go. Okay, Barry Burman is at this moment, I would imagine, feeling a little bit of desperation to get by the 2 in front.
Yeah.
And the reason why is Jarno Opmeer, having gone super early for the tyres, is 3.4 seconds up the road at a track where he wins for fun. So Jarno Opmeer, and I was going to ask for this graphic, and the gallery, they've already anticipated it. Look, they're much older. They're much older, the tyres, and yes, they're going to drop away, but he's got the track position and he's not having any pace restrictions at all. He came out into clear air. He had a 13-second gap to the car that was next up. It's now 7 seconds. Otmar has been running this race at the pace he is truly capable of. You can't say that for Barry Barremand at the moment, who was jumped by the undercut. For Pookie and Butcher, and still, if we look at our timing page, the hard tyre looks great. The hard tyre still looks pretty good. Yes, the gap is coming down. Pookie has gained a second to our race leader last time around, but you're gonna get the benefit of those medium tyres. It's in the balance here. All the strategies looking good right now. Someone is going to do the work in the next 10 minutes or so that's going to define who comes out on top. The mid-stint, the middle of the race, where we're talking about what is possible, someone is going to do the hard, heavy lifting right now and set the foundation for their race win.
All the drivers that started on the hard compounded tyres are really going to set the benchmark of our optimization, or our view of how long can these hard tyres actually go, how many laps can they actually do on these hard sets. And well, that will only be left into the hands of the drivers up at the front end that haven't made a pit stop down. Everyone down to P10. Julian Klaffenbach is your last of the runners that has not made a pit stop yet. So your top 10 all on hard compounded tyres, but all started on those hard compounded tyres, and it really is just a guessing game of when we would expect all of these drivers to pull into the pit lane, and Jarno Opmeer will be praying that some of them go long and give him some sort of reassurance that his hard compounded tyres can even make it to the end of the race.
Well, they're going to be destroyed. He came in so early that we kind of at that moment thought, right, this is going to be a two-stop.
Yeah.
Two stops are rare, even with a lap count of 36. Just purely, just do not have the time to make any pace difference work with the length of races that we have. Pedreño's ahead of Fassi. Fassi, who was a memorable winner of his home event earlier this year after shenanigans on the last lap. This is Alfie Butcher still running in the train. Pookie, absolutely superb. He's had to sit out a couple of races this year, wait for his turn. It means the times that he is in the car, Williams are counting on him to have put in all the practice laps and a bit more for that commitment. Someone's dragging the dirt onto the racetrack, aren't they, ahead? That lawn is getting mowed on the apex of turn 7. Aston Martin lead. Ismail Fassi was passed for the lead, and at the time was pretty certain that it was, all right, you work harder by punching a hole in the air. But they've not swapped it back since. Pookie finds himself getting that gap down. There we are, swap back. I knew it was coming. Done enough these through the years. Knew it was coming. And then Pookie is 2.8 away. It was 3.5. Still, Otmar running quite nicely. Not amazing pace, but still, he finds himself, he's only 0.2 slower on 3-lap older tyres last time around. I would not be sitting easily at all if I was in this this pack that begins with 11th place Jarno Opmeer. That's a swap of the hard tyre back out front, and Fassi going back to the lead in Mexico City.
Well, he knew it was coming. You guys can't see this at home, but Alex is actually sat with a Magic 8 ball in front of him where he gets all of his information from.
All right, I wish that was the case. If anyone's got one of those, I will buy it off you. Let's hear from Jarno Opmeer.
So P1 last lap 18.9. Our theoretical optimal would be 21, and I'm thinking more something like 24.
Yep, I agree. And the leader's like ridiculously fast.
Well, he is getting the information from his engineer there on the radio, being told about the information, and he's going, oh, that is quick. That is incredibly quick. On the hard tyre at this stage, he went to it early. So the good news is, durable tyre. Bad news is, that looks like the one that you wanted to start the race on.
Well, he just has to...
If you're Jarno Opmeer.
Yeah, of course. But he just has to deal with the cards he's been dealt at this point. Yeah. You can't really complain too much about the strategy. Once you've committed to the strategy, you just have to deal with it. And it sounds like it sucks, because it really does. If you've got the strategy wrong, you just kind of have to make the best of a bad opportunity. Ismail Fassi out in front, still putting down lap times that are very similar to what Jarno Opmeer is placing down on the circuit with his fresh hard compound tyres. And if Ismail Fassi is able to use this fresh air in front of him and gain a little bit of an advantage where Jarno Opmeer is having to fight his way through the field, then that very much works out in the favour have taken on the long stint first.
So a battle at the front, lap 20 of 36. Those who started on the hard tyres are waiting for the fresh rubber in a few moments' time. Jarno Opmeer is the highest placed driver who has stopped. He stopped very, very early, went very, very aggressive. Pookie finds himself still with the advantage. He brought Butcher as well. Their offset, only a lap. Pookie and Butcher went longer. Let's go on board with Joris Krozen. This is one of those races that you're going to have to wait until the very end to find out who comes out on top. We've not seen much, by the way, of overtaking in the last couple of minutes. There's Joris Krozen to change it. Going past his teammate, Thomas Gall in 8th, and now Krozen finds himself in 7th position. He's 2.3 seconds away from Thomas Ronhaar. Ronhaar, whose race was undone by getting shuffled off the road in the opening corners of the race. Let's check in now with our championship leader. We are on board with Otis Lawrence. I believe we can check in with his team radio right now.
But what if one of them box in front? Then it's...
Stay out. No. Still staying out. It's early. You'll have a horrible second stint.
Thank you very much for the team radio department giving us the information that we're looking for. And so they just want to wait longer and longer and longer. They know this hard tyre is good. Otis Lawrence asking, well, he's come in, he's mirrored the strategy of the Ferrari driver, Fassi. So that might have been from a few moments ago. Fassi comes in, Otis Lawrence comes in. It's an Aston Martin 1-2. You've got to treasure that if you're Aston Martin. They're going to go one lap further. They didn't want to lose any more time, I would imagine, to Pookie. The gap was 16 seconds. Any more, do you have enough time to cycle through on those soft tyres? Hard tyres to medium. Now, where you come out in the pack is absolutely vital, and if you can make quick, efficient moves, you have a great opportunity. If you're on the hard tyre, you're going to have fading hard rubber up against fresh mediums, but can you make the passes, considering it's going to be a DRS train ahead? Well-poised race coming your way in the next few laps.
I'm very skeptical on how this is going to work out for Otis Lawrence. I mean, we saw on Nicholas Longuet's car how bad those mediums were towards the end of their stint, and that was only lap 12 that Longuet had done on those medium tyres. We're still 15 laps from the end of the race, and Fassi, Lawrence and Rasmussen have all jumped onto the medium tyres. Now, if Ferrari, Red Bull and Alpine, the top 3 constructors, all feel that this is a set time to go onto the mediums, as peeling off into the pit lane is going to be the Aston Martin driver of Ruben Pedreño. I mean, all of these teams, they have all the data, they have everything in front of them. They clearly feel that this is the right opportunity to jump on the mediums to take advantage of the fresh rubber.
Ismail Fassi has many cars to get by. There you go, there's another one. Ismail Fassi going past Ulasago Zelderim, whose race came undone with the nature of getting shuffled back, got jumped at the pit stop, got jumped by the Ferraris, and that's going to be the case once again. Still going through, not the only one as well. Nicholas Longuet trying to fight back, he's got fresher tyres. Zelderim had a wonderfully inspired performance in qualifying, but unfortunately it's not worked out in the race. Duncan Hoffman leads the race, still needs to make his stop. It is getting aggressive behind, and Zelderim finds himself fighting now, and that is very, very, very tight out front, as you see Otis Lawrence clearing as well.
Very beneficial for Otis Lawrence. Minimal tyre wear would have been used there. The 2 drivers in front of him just scrapping it out, and Lawrence saying thank you very much. I'll pick up the dirty pieces of this battle and take the positions in my stride as well. Up into 13th goes Lawrence, as he's still glued to the back of Ismail Fassi and chasing down the back of the Ferrari driver, who's the lead charger on this long stint, well, the short stint now on these mediums. Fassi goes through on Manley. Otis Lawrence will be wanting to respond very quickly as well. Hoffman peels into the pit lane, so does Krozen, Klaffenbach and Benham. So all 4 drivers will take their 20 seconds drop on their race time right now and take a fresh set of mediums as well.
Jarno Opmeer, he went for the rubber before anyone else is waiting for his turn. Freddie Rasmussen scrapping in the background, and we are heading in to turn 1 with Zelderim and Danny Beresne getting by. or at least trying to on the exit of the corner, and it just opens the door for Duncan Hoffland, who sweeps on by in the green Aston Martin. That's a replay of the action further back as we continue on now. Poor old Ulas Elselderim had a great moment. Oh, he's getting the elbows out. The frustration, understandable, and the end fence of his front wing on the racetrack.
A little bit of Racing Bulls debris flying off the car there. Hoffland down the inside of Beresnay, and Ulas Elselderim, what was looking to be a dream race when he put it on pole position, now taking on board a little bit of damage through this S section is going to hinder you so much with that reduced downforce. And you can already see how much time he's lost there. It was a purple sector 1 this time round for Otis Lawrence, as he's leaving nothing out there on the circuit. Yes, he needs to nurse these tyres to the end, but he also needs to take home the best advantage possible and make good use of these mediums on the circuit. Onto the back of the Williams he comes now, does Otis Lawrence. Pookie just in front of him. DRS flap wide open. Great opportunity down into turn 1, as he's just mimicking all of the moves of the car in front. Needs to do something different here. To the outside goes Lawrence. Down the inside goes Pookie, as he'll get there on Fassi. Now can Lawrence slip through? No, he can't. He'll have to wait a little bit longer.
Right, Jarno Opmis come in for a second stop. That's understandable. And now we've got a brawl out front. And where does Otis Lawrence place the car? Thomas Gao still has to stop. This is for the lead. Different strategies meeting in the middle. Alfie Butcher and Pookie went early. Fassi and Otis Lawrence took the pain of starting on the hard tyre. Now they've got the fresh mediums. It looked to be a great strategy. They're making it work. Championship leader goes around the outside and takes third place. Fassi and Lawrence are going to do battle. They're clearing the cars that they need to. And those who came in earlier on, they scrapped amongst themselves. They restricted their pace. And Barry Burman still hasn't given up on this one, but he's fighting Pookie. Pookie getting by, and the undercut with Butcher has ruined Barry Burman's victory chances. And that Ferrari's in a great place. You can see how much he's having to soar away. And there is Ruben Pedreno out of nowhere on the fresh medium rubber. Don't count him out as well. The choice to start on the hards was the right one. Alfie Butcher has the race lead, but how is he going to keep Fassi, Lawrence and Pedreno behind on those tyres of 16 laps? The McLaren man's out front, and then it will be a new battle. It will be a battle of those who were miles down. How on earth is Otis Lawrence in the battle to win this race when he started P15 on the grid?
In his own words, there's a few overtaking opportunities around the outside. Here comes Istvan Pookie. He'll look for the move on Otis Lawrence, as every driver's trying to pick up a position where possible. Ruben Pedreno, the Spaniard in the green mean Aston Martin, is trying to make up a few positions as well, as he's getting his elbows out in the background. That was an outstanding move on Barry Borman to get himself up into 5th, but now he's looking to attack the back of the Williams as well. Lawrence wasn't having anything of it, as he's now focused on the Scarlet Red Ferrari in front. Ismail Fassi is just one more car in his way. Here comes Pedreno once again. Down the inside, he'll get there on Pookie. Pookie can't respond just yet, but remember, down the home straight, 1.2 kilometers down to turn 1. If you've managed your energy deployment well, you have a great opportunity down into the first corner to make a move here. Otis Lawrence tucked in behind, has the slipstream, has the DRS, has the battery deployment. Can he get the move down into turn 1? This would be so crucial for his race. Alfie Butcher on the alternate strategy. Otis Lawrence is only worried about Fassi right now.
And yet, with 1 lap fresher tyres, Ruben Pedreno is having a party. Duncan Hoffland is having a riot. He's got the worst track position and the freshest tyres. So Hoffland and the Aston Martin teammate of Ruben Pedreno have an unbelievable opportunity here. Freddie Rasmussen is making moves as well. And those who came in early responded to each other, restricted their pace. And now we've got those on the mediums making serious progress out there. Starting on the hards was the way to go. Alfie Butcher is doing a brilliant job to stay ahead. What he needs to happen right about now is Fassi and Lawrence to have an epic battle for about a couple of laps so he can try and scamper clear. Will we get that? immediately. Into the Forosol we go. Ruben Pedreño, he doesn't have to think about the championship. He doesn't have to worry about it. He's going left, he's going right, and he knows he's up against Otis Lawrence, who will have to think about getting out of the way. All he needs is solid points here, and he's on the verge of securing his championship. He has turned around a day where all looked lost at the end of qualifying. Otis Lawrence is ahead of all of his rivals, but he's third on the road, and this is a man who only knows about winning. It is Aston Martin on the charge, and Lawrence is looking in his mirrors. This is the risk I'm talking about. That is so brave. That is so brave from Pedreño, who knows that he might never get a better chance to win one than this one, and he'll have the inside line. This is not where the championship leader wants to be, as Kai's going to take over as we go through here.
Outside to the inside, he'll find his way through one way or another as Otis Lawrence tries to sneak through on Ismail Fassi as he picks up the inside line, still side by side. How are these drivers keeping it clean through 7? He's done it once before. Lawrence will hang it out to dry. Pedreño will keep his nose in as well as they're still side by side. Pedreño comes out on top. Ruben Pedreño makes his way past your championship leader, and Duncan Houghlin says, yes, let me get a bit of this battle as well, as he attacks the back of the Alpine driver. Can't get the move done just yet. We both need a breather. You've thrown it to me for a breather there, and I'm already out of breath, Alex. What a battle we have on our hands here. Ismail Fassi will be watching in his mirrors, I'm sure, sweating beads out there in the arena, as all the drivers are just picking up the battles, picking up their positions and taking their opportunities, because here comes Duncan Houghlin. Both the Aston Martins depart of your championship leader. Lawrence, looking for a podium, is now down to 5th.
I didn't want you to miss out on the action, because this is some race to commentate on. Alfie Butcher performing wonders out there. He's like, all right, carry on scrapping behind. He's still got the race lead. Yes, his tyres are ancient, all right, they're basically leather bound at this stage, but he's still got the race lead. Ismail Fassi keeping a calm head. You've got to admire it right now. You cannot argue with Otis Lawrence getting out of the way. He's got to think big picture. Here is his nearest rival for the title. We're on board with Freddie Rasmussen, and he has got the tyres that you want right now, the medium tyres. Ron Haar is ahead of him, and this has been some race of a mixed-up grid to start and a mixed-up order as well. But for Hovland and Pedreño, this is something truly special. They are not going to play the percentages. Fassi wants the win. Alfie Butcher's going to try and just get those tyres to the end any way he can. He is putting together the drive of his season, trying to get back onto the podium. He hasn't been there since the opening race of the year. 6 laps to go. It shouldn't be possible, but he's still out front. He's still the driver punching a hole in the air, and he will be hoping that in the background, the battling continues, and Thomas Ron Haar is going to give us another move. He will line up another pass. Ron Haar, who waited a very long time to come in, and this absolutely confounding race continues. No one can make the hard tyres work on the strategy that started on the medium apart from Butcher, and he's in the lead. Fassi, Pedreño and Hovland are dreaming of the win, but if they fight over each other, they might let the McLaren man in. This is quite literally anyone's race. Look at them, glued together after all of this.
This is worse than a Friday night on the M1. All the drivers just gridlocked in behind each other. None of the traffic moving in suit, as Pedreño is still hunting down the rear end of that scarlet red Ferrari of Ismail Fassi in front. The birthday boy might not have celebrations for much longer if the Aston Martin party have anything to say about it. Through the stadium section they go. In the background, Ron Haar finally gets the bid on Pookie and will get the move done. Pookie's not going to give that one up, but he has to, going into the final bend as Ron Haar finally breaks free on his fresh medium tyres. Only 6 laps he's competed on these tyres, meaning he's got 3 laps fresher than Otis Lawrence in front and 2 laps fresher than his competitors in front.
Aston Martins are close, not close enough. Remember, they have the option of using the teammates to try and attack the Ferrari driver. They've got time, they've got laps in hand, they've got decent rubber. Otis Lawrence, I think wisely, considering how close he was to potentially getting into a moment where the car could have spun, backed out of it. He's played the percentage game, and he is currently on for a very, very useful 10 points. Crucially for him, all of his rivals are behind. That's all he needs to worry about at this stage of the championship. We have 2 races to go at the end of this one, and Butcher is performing wonderfully on the wrong strategy. Clearly, the wrong strategy. Fassi knows that he's in a good position. If he just looks out the front, he's in a fantastic place. The bad news is that he's got fresher rubber behind him and 2 drivers that are dreaming of an unlikely victory.
I've got one question. Just how is our leader of Alfie Butcher able to pace match the mediums on 21-lap-old hards? It is unbelievable, especially with no DRS to his name and no opportunity out in front. He has clear air. It's almost a time trial session for Alfie Butcher. He just needs to focus on his own driving, keep everything precise, keep everything within the white lines, and keep that car facing forwards. Duncan Hoffland, though, his driver development over the course of the season has been outstanding to see. His best result that he's ever had in the championship was a P4 in Kota. He has only had 1 top 5 result, which was that result right there, but looking to knock him down to 5th. Thomas Ronhaar's on the attack. Hoffland's going to try and hang it on the inside. Just in front, Pedreño gets a snap. Hoffland needs to use his teammate here to try and box the Mercedes out, which is exactly what they do. Great teamwork between the 2 teammates to fend off the fast-charging Ronhaar.
Absolutely superb teamwork when it counts for the Aston Martin pair. They have the option. Remember, Hoffland, 14th off the grid. 14th, an outstanding position to be in. He's P4 at the moment. He's in a great place. Pedreño's had a great run as well, looking for another podium, and it would mean the world to him. It would only be his 3rd, and that is close to Ronhaar, turning it into a race of traction. If you turn it into a race of traction, it could well be a chance. Oh, and look, the gap has increased. Still within the DRS. Thomas Ronhaar knows how to win around here. He did so in 2024. He's trying to get by and give himself the chance. He's got form around this racetrack, but can he get the momentum to get by? He's going to hope to get the launch out of turn 3 and make a pass that can sometimes take 3 corners by the time that you get to turn number 4. But somehow, on lap 33 of 36, it is the stuff of miracles for Alfie Butcher out front, with many contenders who could take it away from him in the final stages. And Otis Lawrence in 6th position will say, well, it was looking good at one point, but I did start P15, and I'm outscoring all of my rivals for the title.
In only 34 championship starts, Alfie Butcher has achieved 6 podiums, but never has he taken home a race victory. While he's taken home 3 race victories. I was looking at my complete wrong section here. Alfie Butcher looking for a 4th race victory out of 7 podiums. Jarno Opmeer, a 3-time champion, compared to the 3 victories, is trying to make his way past Barry Borman. A little bit of a snap there into the stadium section as he's snipping at the heels of Barry Borman. Can't get anything to go just yet. He does have the support of Freddie Rasmussen in behind him, but both the Red Bulls being in the bottom end of the top 10, it's not an ideal day for them at all.
I checked where Jarno Opmeer was around 2 minutes ago, and he was 13th. He's 9th, and he is flying right now. He's running out of laps and he's running out of corners, but this is going to be really entertaining. Goes around the outside. The tyres are fresh. It's slam dunk. It's slam dunk. Opmeer is passing for fun right now. Oh, he's going to have a chance to rise through the order and pick past so many of his rivals. This is amazing. Ronhaar is side by side with Hoffland. Hoffland is getting very close to Pedreño, and the more they scrap, the more the Opmeer Express is coming.
But the question is, Jarno Opmeer, he's the only driver to have tried to make a 2-stop work in this race, and that's why he has the compound offset. Opmeer on the back of Otis Lawrence right now. The question is, does he make the overtake and continue on forwards, or does he make the overtake and back up the Alpine into his teammate? Well, we'll have to wait and see, because only a few laps left. Time will tell as Jarno Opmeer makes his way past Otis Lawrence into 6th position. Now does Otis Lawrence get held up, or does Jarno Opmeer go for glory?
No, you got to go for glory. This is absolutely audacious. This is outrageous to try a 2-stop and still nominally have the chance to make it work. We're on lap 35 of 36, and very, very unusually, I'm going to check the corner count that gives us to the end of the race, because remember how fresh his tyres are and how old the others are. So he's got 34 opportunities around here. If you look at the key traction zones, you've got the traction zone off 1, you've got the traction zone off 4, but then you've got into the stadium. Jarno Opmeer's still got a shooting chance here to challenge for a podium, and if it turns into a scrap out front, and it should do, because Ismail Fassi's been waiting and waiting and waiting for the chance, this is one of the best poised races I've ever covered in this great championship. Butcher's on ancient tyres. He shouldn't still be there. It looks for all the world like Fassi's waiting. The Aston Martin pair have had to work together to defend, and that's fine if you're trying to defend from Thomas Ronhaar, because he's on medium tyres just like you. But these are fresh, hard tyres, and Jarno Opmeer doesn't need any of them. So this could be absolutely anything. Opmeer! No, he can't, and it's crucial that he made the move into 12. Can he do it into 13, into the hairpin? He's going to be restricted. If he made those passes, he could have shot for the podium. What a charging drive from Opmeer. And here we go then. Has it been the Ferrari man of Ismail Fassi timing it to perfection, or will Alfie Butcher pull the largest rabbit out of the hat you've ever seen? Opmeer's still dreaming of the podium. We're on the final lap of the race as we head down to turn 1.
Flashbacks to Bahrain. Fassi goes for the lead of the race. He'll get it down into turn 1. Butcher is dethroned. He'll try and challenge back, but nothing he can do. Opmeer makes his way past Ronhaar as well, as Bahrain is just playing in the memories of everyone watching along. Jarno Opmeer, you are inhumane, as he's managed to make this 2-stop work in his favour, up into P5, and just 2 green Aston Martins in front, and a podium could be an opportunity. There is still plenty more chances for Jarno Opmeer to make this one work. Now he has the S's. This is where he needs to prime himself. He needs to set himself up for the overtaking opportunities in the stadium. He'll be praying that they battle in front, but with just a few more corners to go, what is going to happen?
Ismail Fassi waited and waited and waited, and as they battled behind, he watched with glee in his mirrors. Opmeer making the 2-stop work. That'll be the inside line. Surely that will be 4th place. No, he can't get it done. Ismail Fassi waited all the while. Brilliant from Pedreno, superb from Alfie Butcher, but he bided his time to perfection. Ismail Fassi takes the checkered flag. Butcher was brilliant for 2nd. Pedreno inspired for 3rd. Duncan Hoffland, with a brilliant result, climbed up the order, and in the end, Jarno Opmeer made a 2-stop strategy work, and Jarno Opmeer in the end was 1.6 seconds short. Absolutely brilliant driving from the top 5. Ronhaar was in 6th. Otis Lawrence gets closer to the title with 7th place, and then it's Pukki, Boromund and Rasmussen in 10th. Alfie Butcher, well, he can be disappointed the win went, but not by much. He had no right to finish in 2nd place with tyres that old. Delight for Aston Martin with a 3-4, and magic from Opmeer on a 2-stop with just 36 laps to make it work. But it's Ismail Fassi celebrating for the 2nd time this season. He is the winner.
Celebrating for the 2nd time this season, and the 2nd time today. The candles on the birthday cake can finally be lit as Ismail Fassi crosses the line for a victory here out in Mexico. But that man right there proved a lot to all of us today. Alfie Butcher taking a completely different strategy to anyone else. A very long run on those hard compounder tyres to take it to the end, and just shy of a victory. He was only 15 corners from doing so, but Alfie Butcher, hats off to him, put up a great fight today.
Well, Ismail Fassi finds himself with a present to savour. He just waited and waited and waited, and he can't have been comfortable when the Aston Martin pair appeared. Otis Lawrence moves away, but Opmeer able to get by, but the points offset nowhere near what Opmeer needs at this stage of the season. Otis Lawrence coming through from 15th to 7th, ahead of his nearest contender for the title, Freddie Rasmussen. McLaren was something to smile about. Brilliant for Aston Martin. And Jarno Opmeer with escapology to get out of the hole that a 2-stop put him in a couple of times with track position. He went back to last, and he very nearly, if he had a couple more laps, he'd have known. But Ismail Fassi was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, got the call it was the last lap, made the easy pass into turn 1, and took the checkered flag by 0.3 of a second. Starting on the hard tyre, finishing on the medium, the story of the race. And it's the birthday boy, all smiles once again.
And you don't blame him. Celebrations are very much in order there. Ismail Fassi doing an outstanding job to pick up his second victory of the season. Otis Lawrence, though, although he may not be happy with the overall result, can sigh a little bit of a relief as Freddie Rasmussen and Nicolas Longuet, the two closest championship leaders, both falling short. But Freddie Rasmussen, he will have his head in his hands as Ismail Fassi, with that race victory, jumps up to second in the standings. And, well, what was a 25-point gap that Lawrence had behind him for the championship lead is now down to 11. Only 11 points heading into the final day of what has been an exhilarating F1 sim racing season.
Yeah, 11 points, but 11 points when you qualify 15th at this stage of the season. Otis Lawrence looks like he's going to fight Ismail Fassi, drivers who both had outstanding campaigns last year. As Ferrari beginning the debrief, Barry Berman just on the wrong strategy. And Ismail Fassi ahead of Butcher, Pedreno, Hofland, Otmir, Ronha, and Lawrence. And here is the classification then. Ismail Fassi with 25 points and with 2 races tomorrow to fight for the title. Alfie Butcher in second, Ruben Pedreno in third, then Hofland in fourth, and Jarno Otmir fifth. Thomas Ronhart was sixth, and then Otis Lawrence still the championship leader. Istvan Pukki in eighth, and Barry Berman in ninth. Freddie Rasmussen saw his chances in the championship slip away with a 10th place. Then it was Crozen, Klaffenbach, Benham, Beresnay, Longuet in the mix as well. And let me see if I can remember. I think it was Ilzilderim and Manley. Tamascal completed the order, I think, off the top of my head. Let's go downstairs. And we can hear with Natalie, who is going to take us through the race of a couple of our contenders who did brilliantly.
Right, so at the moment, I'm going to call it a podium party, because that's what we're having right now. That was probably the most exciting race I have seen this season. Those laps were crazy. The overtakes after overtake after overtake. And then Ruben Pedreno getting yourself another P3. Very nice.
Yeah, another one. Third time already this season. And yeah, really happy from P8 as well. Something like in Bahrain from P7. So yeah, it looks like comebacks are good for me.
How did it feel having both Astons? I mean, you were both just up there next to each other, just kind of just fighting. You could just see you both moving up the table.
Yeah, it was actually crazy because suddenly I see Duncan right behind me on the hardest steer, and I was like, oh, he cooked the start. And in the end, it was just a matter of securing the result. It was so important for us as well for the team standings. And yeah, like helping him to defend from Thomas that was going so quick. So yeah, we had to secure that podium on P4, and so happy for him as well.
So you've secured P3, you've secured P4 for Aston Martin. Meanwhile, what was happening was right at the front, there was Alfie Butcher on very, very old tyres becoming the Minister of Defence there, which was very nice work there from you, Alfie.
Yeah, I think it was quite a stressful race. Obviously, originally we were together with Istvan and some other cars on the hards, but I think I overtook at the perfect time, which then left me in the lead, and whilst the medium runners got through. So yeah, we managed to play our cards very well, and I think we got the best out of today.
Talk me through the strategy, because it seemed like you were doing something completely different to everyone else on the grid.
Yeah, I think we went into the race knowing that track position's king. We tried to make some moves in turn one, and we got some moves. We got a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I think we perfected the strategy, and yeah, I think it was the maximum today.
I mean, it seemed like you got to a point where I was just watching, there was literally 1 or 2 laps left, and I was like, I don't know how much is left within these tyres.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, towards the end, I think me and Isma had similar grip levels, you know. The mediums wear out quite quickly around this track, and I was sort of hoping for that, but at the same time, I sort of knew it was going to be really hard to defend with the huge straight. But yeah, I gave it everything and just fell short at the end, didn't quite have the grip into turn one, but yeah, congrats to Isma.
But also, how does it feel? Because, I mean, McLaren this season, I mean, you haven't quite found your feet as a team, but this is big points for you guys.
Yeah, I think the season hasn't gone exactly how we wanted it to, but I think we've started Event 4 in the best way possible. Bit unfortunate to not have Jake in the points, but I'm sure tomorrow we go again and we pick up some more.
That's right. Tomorrow we go again. But meanwhile, enjoy your podium party. And Tom, back to you in the studio.
That race was simply stunning. Myself and Brendan Lee were on the edge of our seats watching. We didn't know when he would do the final overtake on Alfie Butcher with the mediums, the fresher mediums than Alfie on the hards. But look at what that means to him. He's just thinking about the biggest cake he is about to eat for his birthday, or the fact that he knows he is back in Drivers' Championship hunt. Ismail Fassi, he's in the studio right now. First of all, congratulations, GG's. What a performance. What was it like to race in that?
Well, thank you, first of all. Yeah, like you said, it's a good present for me. I'm very happy with the performance. Maybe it's sad for my teammate, didn't work really well for him, but he was happy for me. It's good for the team in general. We scored more points than Williams. And yeah, in general, I think from my perspective, doing hard medium was not very chaotic. It was really, I had such a big tire advantage compared to the others that it was quite easy to make the moves. But yeah, from lap 20, what was it, 27, 28, I was already behind in P2, behind Alfie, and I knew that from that moment on, I just had to wait until the last lap. My mediums were really, really bad state. I was sliding. If you see the whole 35th lap, I was sliding all over the place. But yeah, it was a really. It really helps a lot. This kind of situations after also not really a good event 3. It's good to be back in the last event and win the first race.
Yeah, did you imagine it? Because I'm going to do an impression of you now after quali. You were doing this for quite a while in your rig. You didn't seem happy that you were starting in the second row. Did you imagine you would be here right now with myself and Brendan, ready to talk about your race and getting that win?
I was disappointed with my Q3 lap. It's been always the same thing. I believe this season I've been lacking a lot of consistency in Q3 especially. In Q2 we were 1 and 2, we were flying. Then in Q3, the last run, I did a worse lap in Q3 than in Q2, which it's even worse. But I was P3, surprisingly. So I was disappointed with my lap. But after 10 minutes, you realize that you're P3, your teammate is P2, and that there's a big chance of winning a race.
Yeah, I'm sure the team behind you, surround you, were able to lift your spirits and go racing. You did an amazing job. Brendan, another win for Ismail Fassi, his second of the year, and back in that Drivers' Championship. What did you pick up from the race?
Well, I want to talk about how it opened up your opportunity here on lap 10. Bari, your teammate up ahead, going side by side with Ulas. Talk us through this, and I'm going to slow it down in certain moments.
So, as you can see, Bari and Ulas battling for the position, I guess because both they were going to pit that lap. And it was a good momentum for me. I got a really good exit out of the chicane. Here, I tried to bump draft Bari, but I realized that we were enough. I was ahead enough of Ulas just to stay next to him and then keep the position in the braking. But yeah, I think this actually hurt both of them, the race, because they lost a bit of time. But yeah, I don't see anything wrong, to be fair, just a double overtake from Ferrari.
100%, and to be honest, it's really critical here because you're on the hard compound tyres looking to take your stint a bit further, to get up ahead, get clean track position, and importantly, get a gap to Ruben, who's on the same strategy as you as well. This is what I want to talk about. Teammates working together. Would have been easy for Bari to push you off the circuit here and lose time together, but you fold in behind him and able to work together to perfection. Talk us through this moment.
Well, I think at this moment you're like just looking more behind than looking in front. I guess Barry was doing that. I remember telling him just to push. I didn't really want him to focus on me because I knew that this was going to hurt him. In the end, he just tried to help me, which I appreciate a lot. But yeah, there's nothing else really I can say. Ulas is boxed, so GG.
GG indeed. I want to talk about one final thing on that clip. So you're talking with Bari during the race and helping each other out to the best outcome.
Yes, obviously we are in the same call. We didn't really talk much more after this. It was just a specific scenario, a specific moment that I just told him to just take his line. He still tried to help me, which, like I said, I appreciate a lot. But yeah, there's nothing really much more I can say.
Fair play. And I just want to say, before we move on to the other clip with Otis. What teamwork that is. The fact that you can be working together during the race, talking together as well, shows the strength of structure behind the scenes to be able to make those moments alive. Going to be speaking about another moment critical for the championship. Is going to be Otis Lawrence going down into turn 1. What seemed like a real down in the dumps after qualifying turned his race around in one sector of racing. Keep an eye out for Freddie Rasmussen just up off the road there, cutting the grass. And now this is a moment where you see your championship rival right up ahead of you and you have the moment to be attacking. And I could say, as a driver, this feels sensational when you can see someone who you thought you was going to be behind the whole race and you're able to go around the outside of him and take that position. That's all from me, Tom, with the clips.
No, Brendan, there's far more questions. But it was phenomenal for us because we were watching the race and we didn't know when. That's enough. You're basically saying that's enough from Brendan. No.
No,
I know you weren't. I know you weren't.
I was complimenting Otis. It's really hard overtake move to make down into turn 4.
Well, he started in P15, so to be able to work his way up there, we thought he was done, wasn't going to happen, but we just waiting for Ishmael. At what point, what lap is he going to overtake Alfie? But there was a strategy to make sure Alfie stayed out as long as possible, Brendan, wasn't there?
Yeah, Alfie did a fantastic job actually to keep his hard compounds alive all the way throughout the race, and Ismail was able to stay behind. And I actually think they was able to help each other race in their own way. Talk us through that, because you could have overtaken, but then fought everyone else on the same strategy.
So basically, from when I got to P2, I decided I'm going to stay here for the rest of the race and try to defend from the people behind. Because in some of the tracks, 1 lap difference, maybe 2, it's not enough to overtake. Here, we pitted lap 21, I believe. It's really risky. So 1 lap can actually make the difference. And I tried to defend from the people behind. On lap 33, he started pushing. Alfie started pushing, makes sense. Obviously, he's on hard. He kind of has that little advantage. But on the last lap, DRS was enough just to make it down to turn 1 and take the race win.
Well, congratulations, Brendan. Ishmael, come with us as we head over to join Nicola at the sofa. You can let you relax a little bit. It's not as... it's a bit more comfortable maybe than your rig, to say the least. Nicola, you didn't get to chat to Ishmael, but what a race with him, hey?
Oh, I mean, I loved every second of that race. That was so much fun. Because we watched most of it, didn't we, upstairs in the green room while the race was going on. And then it was getting down to the last few laps, and that's when I know I've got to head down to you guys because I know I need to do some interviews.
You did not want to leave.
So I did not want to leave because I did not want to take my eyes off the screen because that was a mega race. And it was one of those where you were just seeing Alfie up front for such a long time, and you were just biding your time to try and nail that overtake to just go and smash it. And that's exactly what you did. And that's not a bad birthday.
No, not a bad birthday
That's not a bad birthday at all. It was brilliant.
While you were up in P2, you would have missed a lot of the action. So let's have a look at the highlights of that race. So we went racing around Mexico City. It was just brilliant to watch the start of the race, seeing Freddie drop back, knowing what was happening. Brendan, we were watching it, and it was one of those races that built. It definitely built.
Yes, as the opposing strategies met together on track, came to absolute peak and entertainment of drama. I wish I was eating more popcorn as there was some available on the table, but typical Mexico race in F1 sim racing. Chaotic, drama, and suspenseful.
So we're on board right now with Ishmael. It was a beautiful moment, Nicola, when we were over at the telestrator where he said, look at that battery percentage, that's 54. That's my car's number.
Oh, that's nice. That's very satisfying.
Satisfying indeed. But we've got to talk about the fact that before the race, the one and only Mr. Brendan Lee said there might be a 2-stop strategy being used. And Jarno Opmeer, at 1 minute, was out of the race. We thought there's no chance. And then to pull it back, we've got a lot of footage to show you on that. So we're on board with the Haas driver here. There were some bumps going on further back, and Racing Bulls trying to do what they could after such a brilliant pole quali 4. We'll try and find out what Tom Mann was doing.
Naughty,
none of that. But yeah, brilliant to watch Jarno work his way up through the pack, and this is it. That final moment, sent it in late. Has he got enough of the braking point at that point?
The car was sliding a lot. I'm telling you, like, generally on lap 35 in the SS, I just didn't even need to turn the wheel. Like, the car was just sliding all over the place.
It's Tokyo Drift right there.
Yes. And yeah, on the main straight, I tried to make him believe that I was just gonna go for the outside line, and then I just switched on to the inside. But yeah, it's really special turning 20 and winning a race.
Have you done your celebratory dance yet that you did at Event 1 at DreamHack? Do you remember seeing that?
I do remember seeing it.
He does like a little...
Oh, OK, well, I look forward to that. We'll close the show out on that.
We'll do that, yes. That's how we're finishing this show.
Two-stop strategy. When you mentioned it, and I threw to Alex Jakes and Kai Piccini, I was like, there's going to be a possible two-stop. It happened with Jarno. It was a bold call, but it almost paid off, didn't it, Brendan?
To be honest, I'm happier that he proved my point right than I was winning my 2 championships myself.
No,
so
they're all smug.
big thank you to Jarno for that.
Yeah, but it was a brave call, and it almost worked. One more lap, maybe, could have done something different.
Well, we don't want to talk about that with the race winner here because we might bring some nightmares. But to be honest, it almost did work. I have to be honest, it would have taken more than 1 lap, and there isn't one more lap in the race as a regulation. But it was almost there, that's for sure.
Did you know it was happening behind you, Ishmael? And I wasn't, by the way, suggesting he would have overtaken you. You had it, even though you were slipping this way and that way. But did you know this was going on?
I really didn't know. On the last lap, well, on the second last lap, I deafened myself on Discord. I didn't want to hear anything.
No.
I just fully focused on trying to get P1. But no, I didn't know. I actually did not think that anyone was going to do 2 stops. It kind of worked because we were many people on hard mediums, I believe, in the top 10 at the end. So we have to just go slow to save the tires. So it made it easy for him to do the 2 stops. I didn't even see my championship rivals' results. I don't know where. I think Jarno is P6, Otis P5. I don't know where Nico is. I don't know where Freddy is. So is that no points?
Let's have a look at the driver standings. That's what we're all eagerly waiting for. See what that does for Ismail Fassi. It puts him up there to second, 104 points, level with Freddie Rasmussen into second place. I don't want to remind him, but second, he finished second in the Drivers' Championship last year. This year, different, 30 points off. Have you been contemplating Drivers' Championship after your second win?
I don't really want to think about it. I think it's actually bad for me to think about it. But after last event, I really just changed my mentality, let's say. It's not that I don't think I'm quick enough to win. It's just that we have to focus more, like as you can see now, in the Constructors' Championship. We've got...
Well, that's the first thing you mentioned, Ismail, when you said, we were thinking about Williams there, and that's what it's done. 144 points. You had Williams right behind you, closer. Not anymore, but that is a real battle at the top there. Now 5 points between Red Bull and, of course, Alpine, who might be feeling a little bit disappointed after quali today and what happened in the race. But here we go, Ismail Fassi. Congratulations on that win. And of course, you probably saw earlier in quali, we were talking about the new DLC. Yeah, that nod says yeah. And for everyone at home or wherever you're watching, let's have a reminder of what's coming up on the 3rd of June.
The 2 contenders separated by hardly anything. Lando Norris is Formula 1 champion of the world. New cars, new teams, new rules. Formula 1 is back.
The train's getting heavier, so you have no grip.
Oh no! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Madrid. The Madrid. This will be spectacular. This is wheel-to-wheel combat, and one move can decide it all. Hamilton's hunting, the gap is closing, it's going right to the line. Gets in there, let's go, boys.
Gran Premio de España. That is going to be a lot of fun. Brendan, looking forward to the DLC?
I very much am. I shouldn't say it maybe, but I've already played it and it's already.
Oh, here we go. Unbelievable. Just pulls back the curtain, reveal. Is it good?
It's very good.
He's like, completed it, mate.
Yeah,
It's
done. Next 3rd of June, I'm looking forward to it. Ishmael, it is your birthday today. How are you going to go and celebrate? I've got sparkling water if you need some, with some ice, we can go and celebrate.
I don't like sparkling water.
Okay, well, there you go.
Still water is fine.
Still water
Please,
is
still.
available. Let's look at the schedule then. Day 1 of event 4 is in the can, but we are coming back for day 2, Interlagos. We're heading to Brazil, and then quite a long flight actually to Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina, to round out the championship. Expect the unexpected. So good right now. Nicola, what are you going to do? Are you going to celebrate? We haven't even been invited to Ishmael Fassou's party.
Well, we've just invited ourselves.
That
It's
is
totally fun. We're coming to your birthday party. Right?
You're always invited.
That's what I like to hear. Here we go.
Brendan wants to come as well.
Brendan can come. Well, the whole of us. Well, that's where we're going to go right now. Whatever you're doing tonight, enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much for tuning in to watch this epic 2026 Sim Racing Championship get underway. Nicola Hume, to Brendan Lee, to Alex Jakes, and of course to Kai Vicini. Thank you very much to the whole team as well. And Ishmael Fassou, congratulations. Happy birthday. We'll see you back here tomorrow to go racing around Interlagos.